Hey guys, Carmen here, your myofunctional educator extraordinaire. If you're new to me, welcome. I'm happy that you stumbled upon me or have fallen into this rabbit hole. Just a little bit about me. I am a myofunctional therapist. I have a large global practice, which means I see people all around the world to bring this important therapy to places that don't normally have it. So people like me are not on every corner. But what I am here today to talk about is who does myofunctional therapy. I've had several emails or messages about this recently, and since I'm always trying to help you guys figure out how to go from A to B, B being your most healthy self, believe it or not, your tongue plays a big role in that. Your tongue posture, mouth posture, breathing, how you're chewing, swallowing, digesting, all of that stuff. So let's talk about who does myofunctional therapy. So the interesting thing about myofunctional therapy is that it's by and large an unregulated industry. So you could find somebody flipping burgers at McDonald's in the morning and doing myofunctional therapy at night, technically, okay? That person would have to find somebody to train them, and that person would also probably might have a hard time finding insurance. I don't know, because obviously I have the professional background for this. So typically myofunctional therapy is found in the scope of practice of dentists, dental hygienists, which is my background, and speech language pathologists. Just because somebody is a speech language pathologist does not mean that they have myofunctional therapy skill set. The same with a dental hygienist. It's something that you do postgraduate, advanced studies, you take additional courses, that kind of stuff to get that skill set. So rule of thumb, dentist, dental hygienist, speech therapist. Now, there are also, obviously a doctor could do it. There's occupational therapists that do some of it. Physical therapists are doing some component of it. I don't think specifically they're doing it just exactly like I am. I think more in that case, they're doing it more kind of like a team approach. But then again, I've never sat down directly with a physical therapist to say, hey, do you do it, myofunctional therapy similar to how I do it? I have had several like physical therapists, chiropractors, that kind of stuff reach out to me and say, hey, we're just learning about this, so can you help us understand it? We're not going to implement it in our office, but we want to be able to have the thought process to say, hey, there's a problem here and where to refer that person to. So that's really where you're going to see it. Some countries are different. Now, that's the tricky thing. I think it's important for people like myself who train myofunctional therapists. I feel like it's the responsibility of the training organizations to make sure only people who should be taking the course do. And that's the hard thing, is because there are people around the world who are doing myofunctional therapy. One off the top of my head, I know I've heard is an acupuncturist who's doing it, which is kind of interesting. I also know somebody else who I turned away from taking my program because they didn't have the right background. Somebody else trained them, and they are a personal trainer. So like fitness trainer, and are doing myofunctional therapy, not in a practice, but out of a gym between clients or something. So because it's unregulated just means that there's not a certification, although some people are certified, that's through their organization. But it's not like a dental board where we have to have that government regulation agency to oversee us. So it's just a little, just a fact, I guess, so that's the tricky thing. So I've had a lot of people reaching out asking this question because they want to know really what's the best background, or is there one? And I think it's more important that you have a myofunctional therapist that you find that you jive with. If your guys' personality is really at odds with each other, or it's like teeth, pulling teeth to get you to talk or laugh. Somebody really super shy and reserved is going to find me a little bit over the top because I'm just loud and happy and laugh and that might be a little extra for somebody, and that's okay. So I think it's more important to find somebody who's a personality match for you. But more so what I wanted to explain here is just like I have, who does myofunctional therapy. So it's just really in the scope of practice for a handful of professions, which is interesting that it's listed in a scope of practice for a handful of professions, but yet there's not a government regulation entity. So whoever you're considering working with, all I would say is if you're unsure about it, ask them what their background is, what their expertise is, where they got their training, that kind of stuff. That's going to give you a good feel for if it's somebody you want to work with. Myself, I have had one person inquire about my background, but they also knew that I was a hygienist of many years. And so I went into it from that. So I don't think it was a real mystery. I think it was more so a question about how long I had been in practice. And at the time I was just starting my business. So, and everybody starts somewhere. So that's not so much what I'm talking about. It's just for those of you who are wondering who should be doing it. So I would say, if you're going to your massage therapist, definitely probably not doing myofunctional therapy, or wouldn't be somebody who I would see. I can tell you, I see a lot, or I reject, I should say, a lot of emails or interest to come into my training program because they have been a dental assistant and they want to get into the world of myofunctional therapy because they know that it has nicer hours and it pays better, that kind of stuff. Those people, I would be very, very wealthy if I let those people take my course because they want to. And they definitely don't have the right credentials for it. So just ask if you have a concern. More so, just make sure that they have that know, like, and trust factor that you're interested in, and that if it's going to be you or your kiddo, that you guys just have an easier relationship. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, you can certainly DM me, and I'll be back next time with another good question.